In a bleak alternate version of 1970s America, governed by a strict dictatorship, an annual endurance event called the Long Walk takes place. Young contestants, referred to as walkers, are required to keep a minimum pace of 3 miles per hour, 5 kilometers per hour, with a penalty of death if they fall below the limit. Ray won a lottery which granted him access to participate in the contest, so his mom drove him to the starting point of the walk. On getting there, she was hesitant to let him go, because his father was killed participating in the same competition. Grise was the first person Ray made friends with, and as they both got in, they got acquainted with the other 49 walkers. Not long after, the major arrived at the scene. The major instructed them to come out and receive their tags on hearing their name, while the others remained still and not move a muscle. After everyone finished collecting their tags, the major then explained to them why this contest is being held in the first place. According to the major, the country has been struggling financially since after the war, so the first long walk was carried out to reintegrate the value of work ethic, as there's always a spike in production after the event each year. The major swore to make the country great again. Then he stated out the rules of the contest, which are: walkers are to walk till there's only one person left. They're to maintain a speed of 3 miles per hour, and they get a warning if they fall below the speed. They also get an additional warning if they can't make speed in 10 seconds. 3 warnings, and they get executed on the spot. The contest ends when there's only one walker remaining alive, for which they receive a grand cash prize, and also one wish allowing them to get whatever they want. After listing out the rules, the major commenced the contest by shooting his gun in the air. The walkers began their journey immediately, with the major and his crew by their side to enforce the rules. On getting to mile 5, some of them started getting tired, so they drank their water to replenish their lost strength. After walking for a couple of hours, a walker named Curly suffered a cramp in his leg, which caused him to slow down, resulting in a warning. Few others started walking backwards so as to motivate Curly get up and keep walking. Curly was fortunate to continue walking before the 3rd warning, but he now needs to walk 3 hours without getting another warning, as he has exhausted the initial 3 he was given. While they were going, Ray told the walkers with him that this long walk isn't voluntary as they think. Rather, the system had them back to a corner, and then pointed the long walk as the only way out, so they basically don't have a choice. One of the walkers took down the names of everyone in their tags, and when asked why, he revealed he's writing a book about the long walk from an insider's point of view, and it's bound to make him rich. On spur of moment, Curly develops a Charlie horse in his leg on the way, and was about to stop, but Ray and Grise helped him continue walking for the meantime. Curly soon gave up as he couldn't endure the pain no more, and he ended up being the first walker to be executed. The others went into instant shock, as they now knew the gravity of the situation they were in. On getting to mile 17, Grise urged Ray not to think about the end of the walk, but the next moment, insisting that's the only thing that can make them go longer without getting tired. A few minutes later, another walker ranked number 1 fell down and started convulsing. Unlike the others, Barkovich made fun of him, and after a while, number 1 became the second person to be eliminated. Barkovich urged the other walkers to be happy when anyone dies, as it increases their survival odd, but none of them were having it. One of the walkers on Ray's team developed a Charlie horse, so the rest of the team had to slow down their speed a little to give their comrade time to revamp. Elsewhere in the line, Barkovich tried his best to get another walker named Rank annoyed. Rank fell for his trick and started attacking him, not knowing he was given a warning for each time he attacked. When he eventually exhausted his warning by attacking the 3rd time, the soldiers at the back executed him on the spot. The entire group shunned Barkovich for eliminating Rank on purpose. Even some of them threatened to kill him as revenge, but Barkovich was only slightly bothered by their threats. As the walk progresses, one of the walkers needed to take a shit so bad that he couldn't walk anymore, so the soldiers shot him mercilessly after his 3rd warning. On getting to mile 35, the major congratulated them on making it this far without getting killed, and by that time, the first night was already fast approaching. Ray had flashbacks of the good times he's had with his mom, but in reality, he had fallen asleep for hours and the flashbacks were in his dream. Ray mistakenly tripped and fell, which resulted in him getting a 2nd warning. It was at this moment he crashed out at Grise for helping him, insisting everyone wants everyone here to die, so he should stop pretending. They soon got to a steep road that requires additional strength to climb, and a good number of them were eliminated on that very road because of the difficulty. Ray didn't allow the things happening around him to bother him. Rather, he maintained focus and kept on walking as fast as he could. Ray almost slacked off, but Grise came through for him with a helping hand. Grise helped Ray till he was able to catch his breath and maintain his pace. Ray asked about the other member of his crew, only to find out from Grise that they were all eliminated. It was finally the 2nd day of the long walk, but the total number of walkers have drastically reduced to 18 out of 53. Number 49 leg got twisted on the way, so he couldn't carry on any longer, resulting in his immediate execution. Barkovich was indifferent as usual, and as he got into a little altercation with Grise, he promised he'll craft out plans to make sure he ends up dead. The major once again congratulated them walkers for making it to 100 miles, encouraging them their grand cash prize awaits them at the finish line. One of the walkers attempted running away, but was shot dead on the spot before he could. It was raining heavily when night approached. Ray rested on Grise's shoulder just so he could get some sleep, but Grise on the other hand never seemed to get tired. Number 6 took a slight break to take shit, but he was fortunate enough to get back up and continue the walk before his final warning. McVries asked Ray if he thinks he'll win the walk, and it was at this moment Ray revealed why he needs to win. According to Ray, his dad was the kind of man who thought him all sorts of things, including things the government had banned. So on a fateful day, some soldiers stormed into their house, dragged his father out, and took him to receive judgment from Major. The Major, after recounting his crimes of teaching banned ideas, gave him an option of pledging his allegiance to the state, but he refused, so the Major then shot him dead in front of his family. Ray confessed he has harbored hatred for the Major ever since that day, and if he ends up winning the contest, he's going to request for a carbine and use it to assassinate the Major as revenge. McVries tried his best to convince Ray otherwise, insisting that it's not as easy as he thinks it is to take another man's life. He further told him that as soon as he gets tired, he intends to stop and wait to die. On getting to mile 170, a large portion of the walkers started losing their shit. One of them tried to fight a soldier, but ended up crushed to pieces by a tank. Another one of them took of his clothes and started walking in another direction, which earned him his ticket to the afterlife. Olson wasn't himself anymore as he started hallucinating. As night approached, Ray unearthed Olson was in a very bad state, so he got closer to ascertain what the problem was, but Olson was already long gone and couldn't even hear anything Ray was saying. All of a sudden, Olson headed back and attempted to attack a soldier, who eventually shoots him in his leg and leave him to bleed out slowly as punishment. Baker rushed back immediately to help him, but seeing time was running out, Ray dragged him to keep walking so he won't get eliminated also. They made it to mile 209 on day 4, but out of 53 people who started this walk, only 6 of them were remaining alive, namely Barkovich, Garraty, Stebbins, Baker, Grise, and Parker. Parker revealed to the rest of the crew that Olson was married, and was the only walker who was married, so they made a promise amongst themselves that the winner would give some of the grand prize money to Olson's widow. Barkovich figured everyone left him out of the conversation, so riddled with guilt over Rank's death, Barkovich pleaded with Ray to accept him into the group. After a while of begging, Ray finally accepted him into the group, but then Barkovich started losing his mind, as he kept on seeing Rank's dead body any time he closes his eyes. The others try to comfort him by letting him know they've all forgiven him, and just when they thought everything was okay now, Barkovich turned and faced them, then stabbed himself to death with a spoon. The soldiers finished him off just to make sure he stays dead. On getting to mile 260, the walkers were remaining just 5, and they decided to entertain themselves with some music while walking. They eventually made it to Freeport, and it was there Ray saw his mom sobbing and happy her son still alive. Due to intense emotions, Ray attempted to head back and hug his mother, but McVries was there to stop him just before he got eliminated. It was such a sorrowful moment for all the walkers, and it made their hatred for the government intensify. To make Ray stop complaining and keep walking, McVries told him the story of how he has been walking his whole life and how he's always had it rough. However, on making it to the 5th day, Stebbins, who had fallen very ill, urged the others not to help each other anymore, so as not to prolong things. On spur of moment, Baker started bleeding through his nose, so following the new rule they just agreed on, no one opted to help him out. Outraged, Parker vented his anger on one of the soldiers by shooting him. Then he turned the rifle towards himself and ended his own life tragically. The others kept on walking like nothing happened, convincing themselves it was for their own good. As the walk progresses, Baker's condition kept on getting worse, and he could barely walk by himself. Baker was bleeding so bad he figured he has developed internal hemorrhaging. Ray and Grise broke the rule by lending him a helping hand, but Baker had already had enough, so he pleaded with him to stop helping him, insisting that he can't take it anymore. He then gave Ray his cross to give to his grandma, after which he forcefully took out their hands and started walking backwards. And it was at this moment the soldiers granted him his ticket to the afterlife. Stebbins' illness grows more severe, and realizing victory is impossible in his state, he confides in Garraty and McVries the reason he entered the contest. He is the illegitimate son of the Major, and had planned to use his prize to compel recognition from his father. He tells the two it has been an honor walking alongside them, then halts and accepts death, leaving Garraty and McVries as the final competitors. The duo reaches a town where spectators gather to witness the outcome. McVries deliberately sits down, but Garraty lifts him back up, urging him to continue. McVries obeys, unaware that Garraty has now ceased moving. The Major executes Garraty and names McVries the victor. When asked about his reward, McVries demands a guard's rifle and shoots the Major before turning away and continuing down the road. The movie then came to an end. Kindly subscribe for more movie recap like this. Thanks for watching and goodbye.